Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends Cassie Build-A-Figure Wave. Now, I know this is very different from what I normally do. I've already reviewed the Kang on his own, but I really wasn't super impressed with this whole wave, so I thought, you know what, I'll just do them as one big review, knock them all out. I got plenty more that I need to get done and need to review, so yeah, without further ado, you all know what the boxes look like. They got a picture on the side, Wave logo on the side, picture on the front, picture on the back with a little description, and that's really about it. So, without further ado, and if I would stop coughing my way through this, let's get these figures opened. So, here we have all of our figures out of the package, and as stated before, I don't love these figures. You know, I really like one or two of them, and I'll talk about them when I get to them, but overall, they're just okay, in my opinion. I know something's setting out. You know, nothing really to write home about, but if you're looking for some of these characters, these might be your best bet to pick them up, find them, whatever you're wanting to do. You know, especially if you're an MCU collector, you're going to like those guys, but let's just actually take a look at all of them before I talk too far. So, going in order of accessories, because that's how I'm going to stay. I'm going to knock people over. Okay, Ant-Man won't stand. Alright, so if I just carefully grab future Ant-Man here. This is a really basic mold. I want to say this is on the new Vulcan body, but I could be wrong, and this might actually be Sunfire. Isn't that right? This might just be the Sunfire body, and truthfully, it's pretty boring. This is a character that I understand why you wouldn't give a new mold, but I feel like if you're going to do, he needs a new mold. Because, you know, unlike with their, like, let's take the HasLab, for example. On the old one, it was just painted on lines, and it worked. It gave the effect. With this, I don't get the effect that these are raised. Because if you go through and you look at the comic, you will see that all of these are raised on it. And if my camera would focus on what's in the foreground, that would be nice. But yeah, all these little circles, all this lining, it's all raised off the torso and arms. But yeah, it's just a very basic mold. Mold. Don't know why I'm stumbling over my words today, but to me the only kind of impressive thing here is the head. You know, it looks like an ant. It's kind of fun. But this guy, I just don't got a lot of time for him, you know, he's very basic. And again, I won't go over articulation, because by now you should all know what it looks like. It's just your normal average Legends. I will say, at least I went through the effort of painting that, I guess. Yeah, overall, this is probably the most disappointing figure, and as much as, like, I would consider this a perfect pocket figure. He just has enough okay articulation that you can get some cool poses out of him. But really, I feel the slot in an Ant-Man wave could have been filled by, you know, a comic Wasp or a Henry Pym. I guess we got one of those with West Coast Avengers, but you know what I mean, like, maybe a smaller version of the HasLab we got, so we could all have a comic Ant-Man, something like that. Or heck, even the Target one. So, setting him off to the side here, let's take a look at Egghead. Okay. So I'm probably going to have an unpopular opinion in the fact that I really like this figure, and I was excited when he was announced. Because I had a Marvel Encyclopedia book growing up, so I know, that's how I know most of the characters in Marvel that I'm aware of. Like, I knew about Yondu even before Guardians came out because of that book. But really where that comes in handy is with characters like Egghead here, who, you know, scientist, doesn't like Henry Pym, whatever. I don't remember his whole MO or anything. And I'm not really here to talk about that. I'm talking about the figure. So, I am disappointed with how small his arms are. I feel like they're not super proportionate with his body. And maybe they are, but I would have preferred a newer mold with a little thicker arm. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure these are just the Happy Hogan arms. Of course, you have your basic hands. But I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, because I likely am, this is a new gun mold, which is nice to see. And the sculptor for the head here, I believe, was Dan Harding. You can... Sorry, I lost my voice a little bit there. You can follow him on Twitter. He posts all of his sculpts. He also did the Power Rangers Cobra Kai line, the 60th anniversary Hulk and Banner. He did the Hulk face and I think part of the body or something on that one, which is really cool. But yeah, you know, fun but basic figure. I really love the head sculpt here. He kind of has that evil laugh, but also kind of mad face. To me, this is perfect. This is what I wanted out of an Egghead figure. And I know, you know, he's a Z-list character, but still, I love having him personally. So, again, setting him off to the side over here. If I can get him to stand, I'll do that. Alright, so now we actually have to look at accessories. So, with our next one here, we have Sharpshooter, or I think that's what his name was. If I'm wrong, I'm going to say it wrong this whole review. So he does come with some alternate hands for holding his rifle right here. The reason I do have it just strapped over is because I've just had him waiting here to be reviewed. So that would be the reason. And of course, he also comes with some effects you can put in his gun here. Does have a nice little blast effect. Trying to use my camera to put it in, but I don't think that's a great idea. I will say, I'm looking at this, the downside of doing, like, putting it in his back for long periods of time is that it's going to bend the rifle. As you can see there, it should be straight, kind of closer to what I have it at now, but it's bent. So that is something to watch for. Of course, you got the, you know, nice firing look there for it. Or, if you want to just pop that out. In fact, let's just take this off real quick. That way I'm not accidentally pulling this apart. Then we can put in the smoke effect, which I do believe this is a new smoke effect in terms of color. I think this is the first time we've seen it look like this. And it doesn't want to plug in. So, okay, so if we just... Wait, nope. It just doesn't want to go. And... So I found all this wave at Walmart, except for Wasp and King. I bought King a long time ago. You can see when I posted that review, I posted that like the day I got him. Bought him off Shartimus Prime on a Whatnot live stream, so shout out to him for getting me the King early. And I know I bought it from him, but still, he didn't have to sell it off. So quickly popping off his hand here. There's his firing. There it is. But yeah, I bought the rest of these at a Walmart, except for Wasp, who I ordered off of Nerdzoic, and it just showed up today, so I decided I'd do this review. But while I was waiting, I noticed some other reviews came out where they just did the entire wave instead of one figure at a time like I was expecting. So yeah, you can see you can get him holding his rifle like that. If you put both hands on... Nice and cool. In fact, I'm going to do that just to change up the displayability of him here. And again, this is yet another really just basic mold. I don't want to go over articulation with these, especially not when I'm doing an entire review on a wave. I will say, though, the head here, if I don't drag my camera in to show it, and if I quit picking up coins with my arm, yeah, it does have a slight defect where you can see I can kind of put my fingernail in his band there or whatever. But I will say, at least on here, it being painted on works, because... See, I don't actually know Sharpshooter, so to me, this character, it works for it all to just be painted, whereas with that one, the Future Ant-Man, it very clearly was supposed to be enhanced, and you can see it, like, on the shoulders more. But with this one, I'm okay with the lines being painted. It works for just being a spandex suit, but given that there's a ever so slight raise on the top of them there, I'm willing to guess it's supposed to be raised. And I also can understand why these characters don't get brand new molds for their bodies, but it would be nice to get it. But I can also understand, you know, no one's heard of Sharpshooter or Future Ant-Man hardly unless you're a hardcore comics fan. So I do get it, but it would be nice to be getting more. So our last comic figure we have to look at here, we have Ultron. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is based on his... I know I'm going to say correct me if I'm wrong a lot, but this is based on his Age of Ultron appearance in the comics, which was my first exposure to Ultron because, you know, when the movie came out, that's what a lot of people talked about. But accessories-wise, he comes with a nice little fisted hand here, a gripping hand here, and I really don't get this. He comes with a crackle effect to hold, which is cool and all, you know, nice new sculpt. You love to see that kind of stuff. At least I think it's new. Maybe it is just the one off the old Ultron. But to me, it just doesn't make as much sense to have him, like, hold it in his hand here. You know, like, it just doesn't look as cool, so I'm never displaying him like that. But he does come with a nice little open kind of grabbing hand. Another fisted hand, which I just dropped. And yet another grabbing hand. And all of them, of course, articulate the same. I believe this is just the old Ultron body, but in case you don't know how that one works, because I didn't have it, and this mold is specific. Doesn't look up hardly. Oh, no, he does. Just really stiff. Look up that high. Look down that low. Arms go out that... Probably actually show you go out that far. Of course, the full 360 spin. Double jointed elbows, as you can see. Hands move down and up. Got a nice little ab swivel there and a waist swivel. Leg kicks up, leg kicks back. Cut at the thigh. Double jointed knees. His feet move out that far. Wow, it's a lot further than I thought they would. And they move up that high. And yes, he does have a little cut near the ankle on his shin. So, yeah. I believe, I really think I'm right, but this is just the same sculpt that we saw out of the Ursa Major Wave outside of the head, which, honestly, I know this might be a hot take. I don't know. I prefer this more modern Ultron look. I think it's so much slicker. And I actually do prefer not having the Kirby crackle being outside of the mouth as an extra accessory. I like it being molded in there better and painted. It's so nice. Just has such a clean look to him. To me, this is much more terrifying to have look down at you than the other one. But that is a matter of opinion. If you prefer the other one, skip this. But if you want some nice Ultron army builders to go along with him, oh, these are amazing, and I'm pretty sure you'll find most of this wave on clearance before too long. So, setting Ultron off to the side there. When did I move my camera? I don't know. So, next up, who do we want to tackle? Eeny, meeny, my Ant-Man. Actually, you know what? Let's start off with Kang. I talked about him in another video already, so I'm just going to quickly recap those thoughts. Maybe you should go watch the video, though. I don't know. I haven't watched it in a while. But you'll probably enjoy it if you enjoy this video. So, I forgot he had this movement, if I'm being honest. I don't really love this figure. Just his articulation is so limited by his deal here. I would have preferred them either go really soft goods with this or tried to find some other way to engineer it. Because I want a Kang that can move his arms, not that's always stuck like this. You know what I mean? It's not as cool. You can't get many action poses out of Kang, and it's disappointing. But I'm just going to set him right back where he was. No need to talk about him too long. Ant-Man. Alright, so Ant-Man comes with pointing hand and an open hand. Then he also has a couple fisted ones, which is really nice. I do like the texturing on this suit, I will say. My favorite part about these newer Ant-Man figures is the helmets. I love that you can see the eyes in there through them. It really brings some life to it, and even the eyes have some kind of expression. You can kind of see through there. These have gotten a bit muddied up. Man, I'm really having vocal problems today. But you know what? The show must go on. So, to show the last accessory that Hank Scott here comes with, I'm going to pop on his alternate head. And I would normally do this on camera, but screwed up my thumb last night, so I need to do it off camera where I can kind of work a bit better. Just can't put a lot of pressure on it. But anyway, yeah, I do actually really like this Paul Rudd likeness. I think it's really close. I don't know, maybe a little big on the forehead, but not by much. It's really close. It just doesn't have the expressiveness that some of the others do. Especially that one that had a big old smirk on it. And I would like to dig through and see if I could find the other. In fact, I'll do that really quick. Alright, so I found the alternate head for the other Ant-Man, and I think these are both good, but I do think this one matches Paul Rudd's likeness a bit better. And the shine coming off him, it's harder to see, but you can kind of see what I'm talking about if I don't drop them. You can see what I'm talking about, where I feel that the one on the right is a lot closer to Paul Rudd in likeness. This one's okay, just not as good, and I feel the main reason for that is it's just super thin and long, you know what I mean? This one has a little more roundness to it, like not a lot, but just enough to give it more of a Paul Rudd look. So really quickly, just popping his other head back on. This is yet another basic body mold. And yes, it is a new mold, but it's basic nonetheless. What did I just knock off the table? I don't know. Must not be that important, though. So yeah, you know, just looks up, looks down, arms go out like that, biceps swivel, double jointed elbows. He does actually have one thing that's different. He just doesn't have an ab crunch. Instead, it's a nice little swivel, so you can get some real good posing out of him. Other than that, his legs work the same, just as all the other MCU characters. Same with his arms. I don't really want to go over it, because this video is long enough as it is. Man, I'm knocking everything on the floor. Every time I move my arm, because I'm trying to rest it on the table, so I'm not holding them up like this, so it feels a bit more natural for you guys, hopefully. I'll move my arm back, and something hits the floor. So, anyway, before I completely annihilate my entire table here, let's pull the Wasp down from her stand. So, Hope here does come with a few extra accessories. And at the end of the video, I will be doing some comparisons, but I don't have a lot of figures to compare these to. So it's really only going to be between Ant-Man and Wasp that anything is compared. Alright, so Hope. Alright, she's standing. That is awesome. You love to see it when an action figure stands like you want it to. So she comes with two fisted hands, and I'm just going to show one of each hand here. She comes with two of these and a nice couple of open hands. Just nice, open, relaxed. You can kind of see my thumb is nice and purple there. Not something I really wanted to show off, but... And just quickly pulling her head here. I don't know why, but the new heads I noticed seem to be really yellow. And I guess it's not as... I don't know, maybe it was just more noticeable to me for no reason, but... Before I put these side by side, they really looked yellow, but I gotta be honest, I think both of these are great likenesses. You know, they look like the actress. It's nice. I can't think of her name. I would Google it, but just too lazy. Anyway, yeah, these are great likenesses, you know, match the films they're from. Awesome. Then we get to the Wasp helmet. Now, of course, again, the texturing on this suit is amazing. And I know it's a bit of a hot take, but I actually prefer this suit over her Ant-Man and the Wasp one. But the helmet on this suit, to me, I think the face shield needs to be indented a little further. Because, man, it just sticks out too much. That, and I think it could use a bit more silver. Like, I think it's too black, if that makes any sense. Like, Ant-Man and Cassie, I don't know. I don't think they gave her a name. Have a nice silver face shield with black on the back of it. Whereas this just has a little speck of silver and the rest is all black. And yeah, there's some yellow in there, but it's not enough to really break up the design like it is on the rest of the figure. And another thing I love, you know, just the black suit with some blue and yellow highlighting throughout. It's really cool. Looking at the back of the figure, you can, of course, pop this off and give her... Ooh, there it is. I thought I lost it. It was sitting on the other side of her. Her nice little backpack there. So if you don't want her in a flying stance, you can just have her like that, which is nice. It's amazing. Yeah. And I will say, this is, no matter how you slice it, that's an upgrade from the, what wave? Coal Obsidian, I think it was. It's an upgrade from the Coal Obsidian wave. So, moving on, I'm just going to set all these other movie figures off to the side here, because we're looking at the big one. Now, before I actually take a look at her, there are some alternate pieces. So, she gets 2 alternate hands outside of the fisted ones, which is a nice gripping hand, which I haven't tried, but I bet you could get like an arm put in there so she could hold other legends. And then another gripping hand if you wanted to like put a leg in there or something. I'm sure you could do that and it would look amazing. Now, I think they did a really good job getting Catherine Newton's likeness here. I think it matches how she looked in the movie really well. You know, there's a few downsides just because it's a toy. I think she could have a little more expressiveness to her face, look a little less doll-like, you know. Have a bit more of a smile or a frown, whatever you want to put on her. But this is so neutral that that's the only reason I could see why it doesn't really look like her, is just because there's no expression. And honestly, that could be the same issue with Paul Rudd's, is there's no smirk, there's no nothing there to really identify it as him, so it doesn't look right. But yeah, head's nice. But moving on to the figure, which is a ways away from me, and it's going to be hard to review this one because I'm going to have to really keep it far away from the camera so I can get the whole thing in frame. So the arms move out like so. Of course, has a bicep swivel that isn't always the best. It's a little stuck just because of the shoulder pad here. Has a nice double jointed elbow. Hands for both sets move up and down. Nice little ab movement right in there. Ab crunch, going that far, and goes really far back. Legs kick up that high. Of course, a nice little thigh swivel, double jointed knees, feet kick out like so, kick up like that, and she has some nice ankle pivot so you can get some cool stances. So if I can move the leg back down, because this figure is extremely stiff. I just got it completed a few minutes before I started recording. So yeah, this video is running quite a while. I just want to quickly run over the textures. Most things I've talked about throughout the video here. But another great thing that really I think shows more in this figure is you can see the eyes through there. And even then, there's not really a lot of expressiveness going on. But it does bring life to these figures, in my opinion. I think it just, makes them feel like there's a person in that suit more than it does at other times. So, there we go. And I do love the little tennis shoe add-on here. They could have just been boring and kept the suit going, but you love to see the tennis shoes and all the other cool additions they made to it. So, video's 20 minutes long. Let's start wrapping it up and rank all the figures. So I'm just going to put them in line from worst to best, tell you what number 1 is, why I like it the best. I was going to do comparisons, but honestly, I feel everyone's going to do that. I just want to... Actually, you know what? I do have a 6-inch figure standing nearby that we'll put next to all of them at the end, so you can kind of get an idea of it. But yes, quickly, let's get them all set next to each other in the order from least to greatest. So, all the way at the very back of the pile, future Ant-Man. He's so boring, but, I feel there's so many other characters they also could have put in his stead. And then, I'm going to put Sharpshooter again. He's visually not super stunning. I like his head sculpt, but not much beyond it. And then it might come as a bit of a shocker, but I think I'm going to put Kang next. It's a very nice sculpt, I'll admit, but the shoulders just kill it for me. I cannot stand them. I do not like this Kang figure hardly at all outside of paint. And again, the sculpt, it's so beautiful and so nice, but I just can't move it. It doesn't feel like a toy. That, and there's no expression, there's no, I want a Kang that looks mad. Like he's ready to go kill someone, but I just don't get that out of him. And then we'll You know what? Egghead's going next. I love the figure, but I really don't think I can put him above any of these others. So after Egghead, I'm going to go ahead and throw in Wasp, then Ant-Man, then Cassie, and then finally Ultron. Yeah, I think he's the standout of the wave. And truthfully, the wave's okay. Like, I won't tell you to go out of your way to buy any of these unless it's Ultron, if you don't already have the one from the Ursa Major wave, or if you're just wanting a more modern look. But as promised, I will do a little size comparison with a 6-inch Spider-Man here. We have the retro classic one, and honestly, I don't know, I think they scale okay. Should I have grabbed another one, like another figure? Maybe. In fact, I have them sitting right here. Might as well. We have the 2020 10th or 2018 10th anniversary Ant-Man from the Yellow Jacket and Ant-Man 2-pack, who is getting a little wobbly, getting harder to stand. No? There we go. You can kind of see him back there next to the old Ant-Man. He is a bit more vibrant and brighter, which I do like. But overall, overall I like the original suit better. But I do also like the sleeker look. I will say, I think the new one has a better helmet with a clear, almost glass-looking plastic on it. And then to round out the MCU ones, let's show off one of the worst MCU figures ever made, and in my opinion, one of the worst Hasbro figures ever made. Wasp. I do not like this figure at all. I think, again, as just stated, it's one of the worst. The arm proportions are so far off that it doesn't look nice. It's one of the ugliest figures I own. But since I separate them by Multiverse and Infinity Saga, she'll stay on the shelf no matter what, unless Figuarts wants to come out with a better one. So, yeah, without further ado, I'm going to wrap up, because my camera's about dead. So, thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, please hit the like and subscribe button. Tell me, do you think my ranking's good? Is it bad? Do you love the Ultron? Do you hate him? Or is the... No. I was going to ask if future Ant-Man's best. But no, he's no one's favorite. It's one of the worst figures all year. Yeah, and hopefully tomorrow I will have out a video on the new Giant Man HasLab. I was going to make that today's video, but then Wasp showed up.